How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Spirit of Combat number 2, presented by For All Mankind here at Game Arena at OSU. I'm Pup Slushy, and
I am Cyber Spiro.
we're about to go into the winners semifinals here at the start of the winners bracket. We have BGC Scarlet versus Render Esports. Buckeye Gaming Collective Scarlet here at OSU. Render Esports and Scarlet are both new to the Spirit of Combat scene. So I'm excited to see how they play.
Yeah, I think both of these teams have kind of, I want to say, a lot of potential. We have the 6 teams going on in this bracket right now, but Render Esports looks to be pretty strong. They did 6-0 in the group plays, which is, you know, undefeated. So, I mean, that's really, really
Quite
good for
the
them.
best you can do, I would say. Yeah. Then we have BGC sitting at 4-2, but they have a lot of potential. I mean, they've been playing on the floor since probably 11 a.m. today, and everybody seems to look good. Everybody has experience here, so I think everybody has like a good hand in this. Looks like we're gonna start out on recharge with Oddball to start out this game one. It's gonna be best of 5.
Now, I don't know about you, but Oddball is not my favorite game mode to be playing. I'm more of a Slayer guy myself, but you know, it's just a matter of holding on to that ball for too long. I just want to be shooting something. I don't want to be holding on to the ball.
Yeah, I personally really enjoy Oddball because on any given team, I'm the worst, and the team I usually like to play with, it gives me really something to do the most of the time.
Right.
H1 Summer really hitting it off with 2 kills right off rip. Still got Oddball down low.
Nobody's even grabbed it yet.
0-0. Looks like everybody's looking for the slays.
Yeah, maybe trying to just find some positioning right now to try and get a good grasp of when's the best time to grab the ball. There we go.
All right, looks like H1's got now 3, picking up the ball and heading to the back hallway. Peterwonga laying on the ground there.
And ball taken back to BGC. And
All right, going over to Ghostifer. All right, looks like he's trying to make a move towards A.
he's gonna get flanked back here and dropped. Nobody has the ball again. It's just dropped. That's one of the things that I find hard about Oddball. Is just it's hard to find that transition, like knowing when to like have the ball and when to not have the ball.
Yeah, what we're seeing here a lot is like deciding whether or not to slay. Get like a better handle on it.
Absolutely.
Or just going for it. I find myself, I'd like to just pick it up whenever, get any little second. My team doesn't really love that play, but whoever gets points on the board.
Well, obviously you're at a disadvantage because you're basically down a person whenever it comes to combat. But yeah, obviously you've got to have the points going. It looks like Render's kind of starting to take on a pretty decent lead right now. Going up pretty high with the ball, making sure that they have good vision.
Looks like there's a little lag on our stream, but it looks like they're still taking it in back hallway. Maybe trying to rotate a little bit towards A.
Looks like Render does not want to give up that Oddball at all. Absolutely not. They are coming in incredibly strong into this match.
That's the thing about Oddball. I mean, it can be one of the longest games you play in Halo, or it can be one of the shortest games you play in Halo. Just really depending on how the start of the match goes. And we saw H1 Summer there at the beginning, making sure like there wasn't anybody left on the other team to even try to take it away from him. Got 3 kills right there, so like, but it was short-lived, it seemed.
Oh wow. So that is like you said, it could be one of the longest games. It's really difficult when you get up to that, 99 versus 99 headway, and you're like, oh man, who's gonna be taking this one? It's almost a little more stressful than Slayer at 49-49,
Alright, looks like we're getting up to 78. Unfortunately, we're having a little bit of lag here in the streaming room, so we're getting this game probably about 1 frame every 15 seconds. So that's how we're gonna have to cast it, unfortunately. But looks like Qual taken. Not sure by who, but definitely got Render still up there, leading quite a bit.
I mean, I'm just gonna say Render probably has this one in the bag. It looks like I mean, you can say I mean, BGC could maybe make that comeback, but once you have such a lead, you only need to hold on to the ball for so long, and they've been completely dominant with it this far in.
And I like to pride ourselves in just not quite casting, but just making wild accusations the whole time.
Yeah.
Looks like stream's catching up to us a little bit. Yeah. Render definitely reaching 100.
Now, how do you feel about the energy sword? Anytime I see somebody with the energy sword, I just say I don't want to play with this guy anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd say I probably don't use the energy sword as much as it gets used on me. So
I'm usually the guy being sliced in half.
looks like we got Ghost at first sitting here with camo. Unfortunately, just ran out. But looks like he's gonna. All right.
And
Looks like Render takes that first.
Yeah, that was quite a dominant performance by Render, actually. Like we were saying, you know, Oddball can go for a while, but they said we do not want to have a long Oddball game.
No, absolutely not. Render ESports, I haven't really seen too much of them in the Halo scene. I've seen a couple of their players, you know, in other games, all FPS, but I do know BGC Scarlet. I see them just about probably like 3 or 4 times a week coming in and practicing, so hopefully they get, you know,
well,
they're...
That's a nice advantage, though, is being able to have an actual college environment, having a competitive environment to be able to be in. So they have actual like ways to practice and train with each other on a consistent basis, in person even. So they have the advantage of being able to be on LAN more often than some other teams do.
Absolutely. It looks like Rhett the Sweat has the camo and sword combo sneaking in the back hallway. Looks like he might have saw him, but not quick enough. Looks like the camera ran out, but still got that sword for close quarters.
Absolutely.
Alright, see if we can get...
Nobody really taking a fine jump in yet. Render has the ball again. Starting to build up that lead.
Looks like Scarlet's a little spread out across the map. We can see some of them approaching the ball, but still don't have eyes on the other two.
So I wonder if, I mean, as far as a strategy goes, when you're trying to take somebody out, I mean, when you don't have the ball, are you wanting to be more spread out? Or, because I know when you have the ball, you kind of want to stick together, protect the person with the ball, of course, but when you don't have the ball, is it a better strategy to go in all at once, or do you try to stay spread out?
I mean, me personally, I feel like it's, you know, healthy to have somebody at the ball all times, one person just dedicated to slaying, and then probably like 1 or 2, like one deep defender, and then one kind of just like sticking like semi-close, but at the same time, like, I can't get myself to go past Diamond 4, so I don't really know if my strategy is better than anybody else's.
I mean, we can just run unranked
yeah.
concepts all day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like Scarlet's going to be able to get a handle on this ball.
Not at all. Render does not want to give it up, not even for a second.
I'll be honest, every time we go to Rhett the Sweat, I feel like he's got camo more often than he doesn't.
I can't even... Rhett the Sweat, who's that? Yeah, I see nobody. John Cena must be in the game. so it almost looks even like Render is just kind of getting bored, just messing around, and so now they're just kind of going out.
Now it's kind of a taunting tactic.
Yeah, exactly.
Disrespectful? I don't know. Halo? Absolutely. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Maybe, but hopefully not. See some teabags after this round, but. But hey, we're a respectful venue here.
Is there respectful teabagging?
We'll get back to that one. I don't know. I'm just gonna take some thought from me.
All right, pretty
Custom
good.
Give some support from across the
pretty
map.
good double kill over there from Custom.
Looks like get a little bit of lag. It looks like the ball's sitting back on Sword. Looks like Scarlet's getting some points finally on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Render kind of messing around a little bit, it looks like, and then decided to just, I guess, give up the ball a little bit. Maybe make it a little more competitive.
I think it's a little disrespectful. A player as good as Render, you think they're ever messing around, or you think they're always on top of their game?
Uh, Look, when you're playing this many games in a day, at some point you've got to say, let's just mess around a little. Let's have
Yeah,
a little fun. Let's loosen up.
especially with these lands here at Game Arena. Like, I don't think anybody here should ever take themselves too seriously. You know.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately still a little lag, but it looks like we got leader Ness looking around with the shock rifle. Personally, my favorite gun in the game. Kind of dropped the sniper after all the modifications between 5 and Infinite, but it feels nice, you know? Nice from the aim.
I am not an accurate marksman, so I cannot I cannot confirm that the shock rifle feels nice. I'm gonna just let you have that one.
Somebody coming out of the camo.
Another good double kill over there. Right the sweat. Finally not in camo this time.
And it looks like, I mean, Scarlet's coming back. I mean, genuinely, it's just like one pull of the ball. That's all you really need. As soon as you like pick that up, and if the other team's not waiting around, wait for everybody to respawn so that they can like push, you know, like tactically, like it just becomes
Absolutely.
easy pickings for the, you know, offensive team.
And with how dominant they've been able to hold on to the ball from the last round and then this round as well, yeah, it really just looks like one big grab is what they got.
I mean, that's what I like most about Halo is like you can start off any game, any match, any series absolutely terrible, but I mean, as soon as you get a feel for the other team, like every team plays different. It's genuinely going to be based on, all right, like looking, like telling your team, communicating. Let's wait a minute, let them have a few points, and then let's restructure our tactics right now.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Ball carrier kill.
Both
Alright,
teams really
Red
just
Smoke
looking for
double kill
any
right
breathing room to grab that ball and get out.
I mean, he doesn't have to hold it for long, so like, I mean, this is the point of the game where you just grab and you go, and you just, even right here, you just don't even drop it.
Oh no.
You gotta, oh, I mean, if you're the other team, you gotta be charging that, unfortunately.
Ball taken.
There it is.
There it is. Looks like Render Esports is gonna be taking the first game of the winter semis.
Alright. So
What do you
that was
think?
Oh, go ahead.
What do you think we could see probably better from Scarlet going in to Slayer? I mean,
So again with Oddball, so you have another variable going in. So Slayer is gonna be really just that 4v4. You can just kind of spread out. You have more variability with what you can and can't do as far as your tactics go. Whereas Oddball, you're very stuck around. Okay, this one person in particular is the focal point of what we're doing, right? So I think Scarlet, as long as they can go in and be able to just continue what they were doing there, because obviously they were able to get the kills. Like we saw Red the Sweat several times, just getting those double kills. It was just a matter of just not being able to keep a hold of the ball. So I think if they can continue what they did in that game, as well as in a Slayer setting, I think they're going to be fine.
no, I absolutely agree. And I think like Oddball, you don't necessarily have to be a good team at slaying at all. I mean, you just be
Yeah.
good at rotation, good at putting pressure on the other team to make them not want to come towards you as much. And then that causes them to make stupid plays like rushing, you know, like and then just falling into a trap. So it's really more of a tactical game. But like Slayer here, I mean, depending on your team, you can play it several different ways. You can stick together, or you can just kind of like bank on everybody's 1v1 skills.
And so we are going to be doing Slayer. The Slayer game is going to be on Streets. How do you feel about Streets for a Slayer map?
Streets for Slayer. I mean, it's like to me, it feels like a more compact map, maybe like more cover, but genuinely, I feel like um, one more like my Slayers, I like to be more open. As far as Streets, I like it for our Strongholds or our you know, like even Oddball.
Mhm.
But
Now
looks like
Street.
teams are readying up. Go
Okay.
for it.
Now Streets. So, do you think there's going to be a big focal around the power weapons in this map?
I mean, you have to be any map with a spanker on it. Like it's a fight for the death, you know.
I mean, who doesn't want to have the spanker on their side, right? But
Like I'm sure, like myself, many other players, several BuzzFeed top 10 articles all agree Spanker has to be the best power weapon
Okay,
as far as.
is it the best one? I mean, you don't think the skewer's the best weapon? Come on.
Oh, genuinely, not even a little bit. Only because I'm not very good with it. Um,
So you have the shock rifle accuracy, not the skewer accuracy.
yeah. I mean, you give me the sniper, you give me the skewer, you give me basically any power weapon. There's a 50-50 shot I'm gonna use it to its abilities, but Spanker I could completely miss, let it go across the map, and still maybe get a kill. You know?
You know what? You're right. Yeah, sounds good. I think this is I mean, one thing about the Spanker though is the repulsor can reflect those rockets. So as long as you got that repulsor, you're
Oh,
gonna be okay with the Spanker.
yeah, absolutely.
Whereas, you know, any other power weapons, maybe that's not gonna happen. And the match has started up here. So as far as things are going, it's just a 1-0 right now on the side of Render Esports. We'll make that
Yeah,
a
we
3-0.
got E-Money. I'm wanting to see a little bit more out of E-Money. I see him out here practicing a lot. H1 Summer and Scarlet had a good beginning of last match, but it really didn't go anywhere. Like it kind of teased us a little bit of which direction that last game was going to go. I mean, obviously Render, probably looking for more from Red to Sweat, Ghost for absolutely. I mean, the whole team doing solid together. Looks like both teams are kind of like holding back, kind of trying to make the other team come towards them.
Tease them out a bit, right? They're also wanting to feel each other out. I mean, that oddball match went
Yeah,
kind of quick, so
absolutely.
they didn't have the most amount of time to kind of feel out how the other team is going to play.
Especially with these 3-lane maps and power weapons right in the middle. Like, you don't want to be the guy who runs towards anything first, you know? Never really ends well. Maybe 1 out of 20 times. Missed the melee, unfortunately. Got smacked right back.
Looks just
Fortunate
like
H1
my
Summer,
melees.
who's also on the ground. Go back to Red the Sweat. See what he's got for us.
Yeah, Red the Sweat had several good double kills in the oddball match last round. Let's see what he can do in this one. Now, do you think once that power weapon spawns, you think everybody's going to try and rush forward, or do you think they're all going to try and wait it out like they were kind of at the beginning of this match?
I don't know, kind of like what I've been seeing from them is let the power, I mean, except for like maybe Camo last game, it looked like Red the Sweat always had it. Yeah, Render Esports always holding on to those. I think it's because like you can see them not rush towards it immediately. You kind of like wait, like you're saying, feel out the other team, see if they're going for it, and then make their decisions based off of that.
So E-Money over here sitting with a hot 4, 1, and 2. And
Ooh, might be open. Is he gonna?
up? Dropped before he
Not
even
gonna
used
load up before he can.
it. Now we just got a rogue Spanker sitting in the middle of the map.
And that's genuine. Like that thing about streets is, I mean, you can see across the map and all these little like caves and stuff, but you got to decide whether or not to like take the chance, try to get those kills. Kind of just let the other team, like we are here, letting you know that you're there.
Absolutely.
But also, you know, can be put in negative light where you're just pretty much letting them know where you are.
So kind of what I've noticed so far from these two is that they're both keeping just a decent range. They're both pretty much just staying on the opposite sides of the map, trying to do a quite a ranged game going on right now.
Yeah, I think
rather than getting up close on each other, you know.
no, absolutely, and you have to like maybe assume like had last match gone differently, BGC Scarlet wouldn't be playing so tight or so held back.
Right.
But maybe like had them like rethink their strategies.
Because maybe, you know, sometimes you do want to be more aggressive, but once you're already down a game, you don't want to make any mistakes that are going to put you
No,
down too.
absolutely. And I mean, going slow with this match seems to be working out for them better than it did last. I mean, they're not up quite yet, still down by looks like 2 or 3, but definitely anybody's game still.
We got Ghoster up here at Old Town, looking right down into. Oh.
Not really the corner you want to be in as BGC Scarlet or any team. Like if you get trapped in that room, get surrounded, come up with 3.
Especially in that room alone, yeah. And that's one thing about streets is there's so many places to get just swarmed.
Oh, absolutely. And like maybe say for like Oddball, I find myself going in that like room a lot, but probably not for Slayer when we're like every slay counts at this point. Looks like Render takes the lead, up 4 now, or holds the lead. Definitely playing tight
Still
going
very
down that
close.
ramp.
Eagle
Few
team
missed shots on that stop.
Looks like they're letting the lead get away from a little bit more. Scarlet. Quiet map right now. Waiting
Yeah,
for the respawns, probably ready, waiting to
that's
regroup
right,
here.
Yeah, the map is still they are still just incredibly good at keeping their range. I mean, it does look like Render's maybe trying to move in a little more, but at the end of the day, the whole map is just cross map fire.
Yeah, it looks like Scarlet's like stuck in the pretty much just like a transition. Just like it looks like they're chasing each other in circles around the map. Haven't really seen anybody like go mid. Looks like we got a little bit of time, maybe 23 seconds until that Spanker gets back up. I mean, if Scarlet can take a hold of these power weapons next time they spawn, like I think switch it up. But I mean, you take 3 pulls of those power weapons, like you kind of like shifting the game to where you want it to be if you're Render Esports.
Absolutely. There are about 6 minutes left in this match, but we're I guess pretty quickly, so probably won't even make it to the end of that timer.
Scarlet keeping it within 10, and honestly, that's really all you need in Halo. Can't tell you how many times I've been confident in the game, late game, and just everything turned on me right there at the last even minute of the game.
Yeah, it absolutely can. Well, it takes a little bit of confidence even.
Was a good play with that shield. Fortunately,
Did not pan out.
taken out somebody else.
Now, would you say that you would go to Jimmy's Books and Stationaries if you know, lived around this area?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Walmart just doesn't really have, you know, like the stationaries that I like.
Well, the book selection is crazy, and who's trying to buy from Amazon these days? You know what I mean? You want to support local.
Absolutely.
Well, that Sentinel beam
H1 Summer,
shredded.
kind of lacking compared to his last game.
Eagle team
Yeah, it
nearing
looks like
victory.
E-Money's kind of pulling a lot of the weight on this round. But yeah, especially in that oddball match, H1 was definitely kind of taking the lead for Scarlet.
Yeah, I mean that just shows like what different players can do for different map types. Like I wouldn't say I'm necessarily great at Slayer, but you know maybe like Oddball captures the flag, just getting movement. H1 Summer though not doing quite as hot as he did last game. Jar Jar seems to be picking up a bit. And then Leader Ness, Cheetah taking the lead here over at Render. I mean, the thing I've noticed with Ghostifer so far is
It's like,
his movement. Like, he knows the maps. You can tell he practices.
oh, absolutely.
Went and grabbed that. Didn't even get a mark on him.
Nobody even tried to come.
Yep.
Yep, there it is. So
Almost
they've
got
pulled
that
quite
double.
ahead here. So, like you were saying, this match could still go either way, but
I'm a believer, Thomas, so it's not done till it's done.
I
See
like
if
to believe I'm
Retrospect
an
can close
underdog.
out here, though.
There we go. Render takes the first round there.
I mean, it
BGC
was really that
stayed-
last half. Like, they stayed well within that margin, like very small margin, like all the way up until probably about just 2 minutes till the end of the game.
Yeah,
That's like this really shows like it's the power weapons, getting those you know, rockets, just making sure that we're consistent with the weapons, the movement,
absolutely.
you know, going in the circles.
Well, like you said, Ghostifer seemed to just be playing the map like it was second nature to him. You know, it seems
Yeah.
like he almost lives in the streets.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're up against somebody that knows the map better than you, then it can just be devastating. But you know, BGC was still able to kind of hold their own quite well in that match.
Yeah,
So
I'm not quite like I haven't given up on BGC yet. Like they obviously like they have good teamwork. I think maybe like they're just like a little flustered, like they don't like the Rockets, you know, like not sure how to handle it like in the moment, and then like once you let the game get away from you, it's like very easy just for it to slip.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you've got to keep your mental going with that. You know, even if it feels a little discouraging, if you let your mental go even just a little bit, then the match is
yeah,
just going to slip away completely.
and it looks like our next map is going to be Bazaar. We're going to do CTF, capture the flag. I think we might actually see something here from Scarlet because we do see that teamwork. We do see them. You know, like you definitely. I'm sure they're doing good call outs out there. You know,
Absolutely.
doing a great job of communicating, and like communications the number one factor in these CTF games. So I guess we're just gonna have to see that, and like I'm not gonna say hope because I mean I don't really know who I even have a favorite right now, you know. But
Were we allowed to pick favorites?
oh yeah, we can do whatever we want. Yeah,
Oh, cool. You're my favorite.
you're my favorite man. I appreciate that.
Well, so
Should we make a team?
um, I think we might just get stomped, but you know, we can try. Just have fun.
Looks
So
like we're
look,
loading on the map. Sorry about that moment there. We do get lost in each other's eyes occasionally.
so it looks like, kind of as you were saying, a lot of oddball and capture the flag kind of have those same rotational tactics that you have to keep up with, right? So just kind of how do you feel from how the first oddball round went, and how do you think this one might go?
Um, honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it's just up in the air. I mean, Bazaar capture the flag is just going to be difficult for anybody. I don't think anybody's necessarily great. Um, I'd say Scarlet has the teamwork. I feel like they have the communication, but I mean, if we're going to see the same movement, the same, you know, um,
The same tactics, the same plays, the same
yeah, same
strategies.
tag, like just yeah, like you see the practice that Rinder puts in their map. They know every aspect of the map. They know the jumps.
Absolutely.
They know how to manipulate the movements.
And they seem to be on top of even the power spawns, right? So that last map, we saw Render be able to get the Spanker at absolutely no contest. So maybe they have a way of being able to oppress the other team, a way to get where they need or where they want to be.
No, absolutely. And even at the beginning of this map, you can see BGC Scarlet kind of getting hasty, maybe going for those dynamo grenades, for those rockets, trying to like go low in the map. You see Render stay up top. They're still high. Easy pickings for them. Got a nice trade there with Ret the Sweat.
Now,
Ghostifer peeking around.
now one thing, we are talking about movements and rotations a lot. There is a grapple shot on this map, so that will be very pivotal, I think, as far as being able to not only get away, but get towards the flag.
Absolutely. I mean, it keeps you from going in those tight doorways where you're easily going to get trapped. Much easier to make it to, I mean, your spawn if you're flying through the air. It's like Ret the Sweat's going through mid fairly easily.
Looks, yeah, I mean, he has almost no contest going on for this flag.
I mean, this is smart playing with capture the flag. I mean, he could just keep sprinting, keep running, hoping nobody's behind him. But I think he knows that, I mean, if the other team gets the advantage, even gets that first burst from the battle rifle on you, by the time you turn around, you're dead. Smart playing, go around.
Flag captured.
Well, I mean, they even had just kind of like a baton pass there, you know, he said,
Oh,
here, I'll drop
absolutely.
this. But I think that's just also part of Render Esports valuing Ret Sweat as a teammate, right? They have to know like, okay, we can have Ret grab the flag, but we also need him to help us in these firefights.
It looks like Render's once again pushing. It looks like BGC Scarlet is kind of like stuck in their spawn, not wanting to leave because as soon as they get a slay, like we got more of Render coming through.
Absolutely.
Good play with the nades though, holding them back. Good
Every player on
communication,
this
marking
Render
that with
team
Sally.
is
Flag taken.
incredibly intimidating. like Render's grabbed the flag again, ready to start passing it down onto their spawn.
Dropping. I'm not sure if they have anybody left over there to grab it, but it looks like
Yeah,
Render
looks
might be
like-
making a return here. Alright.
Unfortunately,
Leader with
not it.
the Stinker could be very helpful. Bringing that flag back.
It's the leader nest, yeah, running that spanker. And this is where you can kind of lay a trap, right? So you can set the flag
Yeah.
somewhere that you need to set it, and then just wait for the other team to try and come for it, just like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like BGC Scarlet is playing the game in thirds, really. Like, go a third of the way, everybody hold back, you know, utilize those rockets, just waiting for the other team to come and just try to be too hasty, bringing that flag back.
Of course. That's also how you want to play. Like we said, I mean, Render has been really oppressive for BGC, and so you don't want to put yourself out of position. So it's smart for them to be playing in that third mentality, kind of like moving up, seeing if it's okay, seeing if hey, can we make this happen? Can we get the return on the flag?
Like E-Money was popping off for a little bit with that double kill. Still putting pressure on though. I mean, they're just so close. I mean, it just takes one run.
So this is another one of those rounds where H1 Summer, for instance, is having a pretty great game, just like they did in the first Oddball round. And then kind of it switched around in the Slayer round where they were having a little bit of a tougher time, but E-Money was showing up, and now it's back to H1 back kind of on top for the team. So it really just come down to each of these players know their own strengths and which maps and which game modes they know the best.
Flag taken.
It looks like they're gonna go try one more. I mean, what we're seeing from Scarlet is a mixture of pushing and patience. Like, I think Render's got them in a spot where they're just not really sure what the best play is against their team. I mean, because they play Render plays so fluid. It's kind of hard to compete if I don't know, if you don't have, I guess, much experience like even like lands like these.
Yeah,
Or
when
just
you,
have like a footing on like what your strategy is going in.
exactly, and not knowing the other team, for instance. The first two rounds went pretty quick, so it's just if you don't know how to play against the other team, then you're just gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, and by the time you get a good feel for it, it might be
It's
too
over.
late.
Yeah.
I honestly thought this might have been a 1-0 game all the way up until the timer ended. I mean, which you'll get a lot here. I mean, which is, think about CTF, it's really all you need sometimes. But it looks like they're gonna widen that margin even a little bit more on Render with that 2-0.
And we did see Scarlet get into Render's spawn and grab the flag there for a second.
Yeah, it looked like they might have had 3 runs of something very similar, make it to around the same spot. Unfortunately, not enough either of those times.
So we are getting a little bit of that lag here in the booth again. So as far as capture the flag, what do you think would probably be one of the better strategies as far as, and not necessarily against either of these teams particularly, but just kind of a general good strategy for capture the flag?
I don't know. I think the good strategy is what we're seeing here from Render. You got to pull the flag. Honestly, not even to like go on a full sprint, run it back to your base, but more so just to kind of like pull the other team out, see where they're sitting, see what their strategy is. Really helpful. Get a couple slays in, and then keep pushing. After they spawn, do the same thing over and over until you reach your base. Honestly, I think it's much more of a patience game than probably. I mean, any of the other game modes, even any other like capture the flag game types in other games, you know.
Yeah.
Flag
Looks like
taken.
Render's widen that lead even more. So you can see one thing that Render does well is just control the map. So more often than not, we see Render with the power items and obviously with the flag. But once they have those power items, even without the flag, they're able to just kind of control when and where they want to take Scarlet. Because at that point, they have the say-so.
No, absolutely.
Eagle
And I mean,
flag capture.
looks like, I mean, we've seen the same, like, I mean, it's consistent across these Render versus Scarlet games so far. You think Scarlet, like, they keep up with them for so long, but it's almost like they get tired about mid-match.
Yeah, and that just goes back to kind of a mental thing, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you get a little discouraged once a match is going kind of away from you, and then from there, just it's a slippery slope.
And then discouragement turns into bad communication with the team. You know, more so just like frustration turning into bad plays.
Whereas the reverse can also be said, you know, maybe all it takes is one big play from Scarlet, and then everything kind of snaps back into place for them. So, as far as, you know, and especially when you've been playing all day, you know, it can be
yeah.
it can be a drain on your mental, but really all it takes is one big play, and then you are right back in it.
No, absolutely. I mean, these teams have been playing for almost 6 hours now. Really not too many breaks, one lunch, but looks like Render Esports is gonna take the series or the match with BGC Scarlet. I mean, it just goes back to what we were saying there at the end of the map. Like, Scarlet's a good team. You could see it. I mean, they had that teamwork, that communication, but at the end of the day, halfway through this map's like discouragement, it seemed like just not really
Absolutely.
sure where to go.
Just started. It could also be said though that Render just they don't let off the pressure, right? You know, it, BGC can keep up with them towards the beginning of the match, which is great on them. But Render also does not let the pressure off. So once you start to get a little bit of that discouragement, then Render's just going to completely run over it because, you know, they are indomitable.
No, I mean it goes back to what we were talking about with BGC Scarlet. We're talking about them taking time to like feel out how Render was gonna play, and by the time they had a feel for Render's gameplay, Render already had a feel for them. Like they knew how
Absolutely.
to like capitalize on it, make those quick points, basically just accelerate the game. But
There was, I mean, that was really apparent in the Slayer match as well, especially at the beginning where it just was almost at a standstill. Neither one of the teams wanted to give or take anything, just feeling out how the match was going to go out. And it ended up staying at a decent range, you know, most of the match. But at one point, you know, Render said, "Hey, we've got to get in there and just completely wipe the floor with them."
yeah,
But
I either way, I mean, great performance from both teams.
absolutely,
The other game going on right now in the winners semifinals, it looks like, was Illuminati versus Sheep Herd. Don't have any results on that right now, but um, those two teams, not new to the Spirit of Combat
yeah,
series. It was fun. As somebody, I'm sure you've been to a few, who's been to all of them. It's nice to see fresh teams, and we get those
yeah,
every time.
absolutely.
So it was exciting to see like what Render, what Scarlet is bringing
Mhm.
to this. And Scarlet's not out yet. They'll go to the losers bracket, and we might even see them in the grand finals. I mean, if things go their way. So
Yeah, I think if they can just make those adjustments, hopefully they kind of saw what they needed to work on from those matches. Just make those small adjustments with each other, and then just push their way back up into the grand finals. But do you have any thoughts on how the Illuminati game might be going?
Um, this is where I get biased. I mean, Illuminati and pool play 6-0, Sheep Herd 4-2. Both, like I said, seen these guys play before, not necessarily all on this specific team, but they've kind of created teams from all of the past lands that we've done. Um, but Illuminati, like I said, Mike Fathom, you have on that team. He always seems to come out and play well in these. He has yet to lose a Spirit of Combat
Right.
grand final. So as much as I want somebody else to, like share the reward, I kind of just want to see how long he can take it.
Are you saying you're bandwagoning over here?
Oh, I'm absolutely bandwagoning. It
Uh,
goes back. I mean, like I said, Scarlet, we just saw Mike Fathom, the only two people I see in Game Arena consistently every week.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I feel like a grandma as like, like she says she doesn't have a favorite
Doesn't
grandchild. says he doesn't have a favorite grandchild, but it's always the one who comes and visits him the most. And Mike Fathom, he always makes sure to stop by the bar and say hi. So
Well, maybe Render will be able to give Illuminati a run for their money in this tournament because they showed up and they showed out. So, and especially with both teams being 6-0 and now Render being 7-0. So, we will definitely see how the rest of this tournament has a way to pan out.
excited to see it.
I think at this point, so how do you think the losers bracket? So we have now BGC in the losers bracket. How do you think that might pan out actually?
It's really going to come down to who they're going to play against. I mean, I mean, they have the same pool play score 4-2 as Sheep Herd if they go through. I don't want to like just assume Illuminati like won. I think Sheep Herd has
Oh,
they have
absolutely.
some of the most consistent Halo playing I've seen here at these lands. Some of my favorite teams or favorite players just to interact with. When we're over, just kind of like going through the challenger mode and just like going through the bracket, putting in all the scores. They're right next to us, same desk as
Yeah.
us. Really great group of guys.
All right.
Looks like
So
we're going to be going to a break here, though. We'll see how Illuminati versus Sheepherd goes and see what the future has for us for the rest of this tournament.
yeah, we'll see you guys after the break.